Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So I don't know about you, dear viewer, but when I was little I used to love playing mermaids in the pool. And so finally I thought, hey, I can sew. Why don't I just make my own mermaid tail? So today I'm making my own swimmable mermaid tail, and I'm going to show you my process and how I did it. But before we start, safety first. I want everyone to be safe and cautious in the water, so please always have someone with you when you're swimming and keeping an eye on you. If you aren't confident in your ability to do a dolphin kick, please practice that first. You can even practice on land. Obviously, if you're wearing a mermaid tail, you aren't going to be able to move your legs back and forth, so you really need to be proficient in the dolphin kick. You should also be able to float if you get tired, float on your back. Shut this window, it's too much noise. And always use a monofin in your tail. If you don't use a monofin, it's going to be hard to move forward in the water, and the material could get tangled up around your feet and weigh you down. So it's really important to use a monofin. I use the Mermaid Linden, which is pretty affordable and very lightweight. It's pretty beginner friendly monofin, so I will link that in the description. I'll also link a couple other videos just about mermaid safety and other ways you can make mermaid tails. So with these safety tips out of the way, let's get started. First, I'm drawing the pattern for the tail skin. I already have a fin fawn tail that fits me, so I'm just tracing around it. And for this tail, the fluke will be a separate color, so this is just for the white part. You can also use your measurements to make the pattern. Leave some at the top for a waistband. Make sure to also leave seam allowance. I got this fabric from Joann's. It's like spandex, dancewear, and one is like tie-dye spandex, and one is like a fish scale pattern, which is kind of iridescent. I thought it was really pretty. Now I want my tail to have some little fins, so I made a pattern for those. Sew it all around, leaving the top open. Cut the excess off. Turn it right side out and push the end out too. The lycra is a bit slippery, so I pinned the edges so it stays open, and top stitched some details on. Now I figure out where I want to put it. I sewed one side of the tail together and placed a fin in between the seam at the ankle. I sewed a few more fins together, and I placed these at the top where my thighs will be, and I pinned them in place and sewed one side. Then I flip it and sew the other side straight down, so it looks like this. Now I can add the fluke. I also drew a pattern for this and made sure it would fit my monofin, then cut it out. Yeah, I'm making this all on my floor because I don't really have a table big enough. I sewed the fluke down one side. When you sew the bottom of your tail, you're going to need drainage holes, so keep that in mind. Now I can align the side seams together. I wanted to gather the material, so I'm pleating the fluke as I pin it to the tail base. So for the longest time, I couldn't really find any pools that would actually allow you to swim with a mermaid tail. Some of these pools didn't even let me use a monofin, or I had to like fight to even be able to use a monofin at some of these pools because it was just like too much of a liability. But now it seems like swimming in a mermaid tail is actually becoming more popular, so I've been able to find a couple of pools that actually do allow it. And I guess that's also why I considered making this tail, because it's like in the past I couldn't even like wear it if I did make it, and now I can, so that's really exciting. I went ahead and sewed it. So now I folded the tail over and have the other ankle fin in place, and I'm going to sew the other side of the tail up. Sewing the fluke on the sides, but leaving the bottom open so I can put my monofin inside. This is a spandex fabric, so I'm gonna use a zigzag stitch for the tail so that it can still stretch. Now for the waistband. I folded the fabric over twice and just sewed a zigzag stitch all around. Put the monofin inside, make sure it fits, and it's all looking good. And finally, go in the water with it. Sorry if the footage is kind of rough, it's just my cell phone and a little waterproof bag. Some last thoughts on making a mermaid tail. So I made the fluke part like pretty big. It's like bigger than my monofin. So I thought about making a vinyl insert. I don't know. It's just like plastic sheet that you can cut to the shape of your fin. But I kind of like how it flows in the water too. So I'm not sure if I'll do that for this tail, maybe on the next one I make. I also added snaps to the bottom so that I can close the opening because otherwise the fin was being seen through the opening. I also thought about lining the inside of the tail, but I didn't want to make it too heavy. But I think the next time I make one, I'm going to have 2 layers, you know, the outside and like a lining, because you can see my legs through the light like this. So yeah, those are just a couple of fixes that I'll know for next time. But otherwise, making this tail and swimming in it was like really fun and kind of like a wish fulfillment for me since I played mermaids so much. And I hope all of you who also liked playing mermaids go out and make yourselves a mermaid tail. Obviously be safe about it. And I guess that's it for me. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!
Squid there.
There's so much noise today.